Hey YouTube and F and true followers. Brian Crazy.
The JC Styles, the one and only JC Styles.
The one and only JC Styles. Now that's just legendary right there.
Yes, it's short from Joe Crazy Styles to just JC Styles.
See? There was Brian Crazy and Joe Crazy. Now this is going back. We're talking, it's funny enough to say
14 years.
Yeah, funny enough to say, I was going to say turn of the century, and it's such a, because you think of turn of the century, not to stray off topic, but you think of turn of the century, you think of, like, the 1900s,
yeah.
Now, and think 20 more years, like, I've got a 5, 3, and 2-year-old kids, and they're going to be like, wow, turn of the century was 2000, and it's like, holy shit. It makes me feel old, and I'm not even that old, but, moving on, we just got done watching TNA Impact. It was definitely better than Against All Odds, I do have to say.
I enjoyed Against All Odds. I mean, some of the outcomes were BS, but I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed Against All Odds, I have to say.
There's a lot of solid wrestling on Against All Odds.
I think the Knockouts match could have been better. It could have had a clean finish. And there's a couple other things. I mean, the Jeff Jarrett and Kurt Angle match was probably match of the night. You had the ladder match, where it was okay. It was decent for the short build-up that they had. But the overall pay-per-view was pretty decent. And, for Brian's first pay-per-view for TNA, I mean, ordering it himself, you don't always get 5-star quality pay-per-views, but I mean, it just happened to be the first pay-per-view in a while that he actually ordered. So
yeah, exactly. I got all the new.
Tell him the last pay-per-view you ordered.
God, the last pay-per-view I ordered here at we get most of the pay-per-views over at JC's place, which is just upstairs of mine. But funny enough, the last pay-per-view that I ordered, I shit you guys not, was WCW New Blood Rising, which actually I have to say was a fantastic fucking event. We had a Judy Bagwell on a pole match, and as Chris Canyon said, the second-rate country of Canada, they didn't have a pole big enough to hold her, so it was a Judy Bagwell on a forklift match. I have no problem with Canada, but
wasn't that the pay-per-view where Jarrett was supposed to pick up the strap in a triple threat match, and Goldberg didn't like the outcome, so he basically walked out of the match and told Vince Russo to fuck himself on live TV?
Oh, the end of that pay-per-view was so fucking...
It was epic.
It was so ridiculous, but you know what? It was so different.
It was one of their last. It was their very last pay-per-view, wasn't it?
No, their last pay-per-view was it was either Sin or Greed. I can't remember. Which, unfortunately, the only tape I ever was able to acquire of both of those is so freaking grainy. Like, you transferred over and you had to watch it on like 320 by 160. It's like, I think he just did a move.
It's like the size of an iPod screen.
Is he wearing a belt buckle, or is that a championship belt? And it's like, alright, so TNA Impact, though. It wasn't bad.
It was pretty good following the aftermath of Against All Odds. We saw basically Eric Bischoff call out Ric Flair, and Ric Flair was like, "You don't call me out. I've been in the business for a lot longer than you, and I'm a wrestling god." And I love when Ric Flair says God. It's God. You know, right?
It's fucking epic, dude. Ric Flair is the shit. I mean, and the shame is, you've heard this quote here and here out, that, everybody knows who Hogan is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not too many people know who Flair is in a lot of places. And it's a damn shame because, in my opinion, Flair's the better of the athletes. I think Flair's more legendary of the athletes. Yeah, Hulkamania and Hulk Hogan is undeniable. But, I mean, Ric Flair, in my opinion, is a wrestling god. That is true. It's a given. I mean, if you know wrestling the way me and JC know wrestling, and I just want to throw something in there real quick. We get all these comments, and this isn't directed towards one person because I know I'm going to get a dumb comment. And I'm not saying your comments are dumb, but I just know one's coming.
But we just know some asshole out there is basically going to turn around and be like, okay, so I'm going to, word pronounced on YouTube is called keyboard warriors.
Yeah, keyboard warriors who like to shout in caps, which I find is, I didn't even know people shouted in caps until recently, but I guess that's funny, right? And,
the light turned out.
Lighting problems.
Ow, blind.
Yeah, like I was saying, we're outside, and my spotlight goes off after about 5 minutes. And, there's these people that, I didn't even, like I said, didn't even know people shout in caps, but there's these people Where was this going?
We were basically stupid comments, and you know how you're gonna get one when you say what you were about to say. I'm guessing, if I remember, it might be regards to John Cena and The Rock.
No, this was something else that was epic as well.
Well, while Brian's thinking about that, you know, a lot of people like
Ric
myself...
No, let me just finish this real quick and then you can get into it. Alright, we've gotten some stupid comments that they do not care what happens in the wrestling world outside of the WWE.
Yeah.
And I know this is a TNA video, but I just have to break this down real fucking quick because it's on my mind right now. And, you know, guys, for all of you that don't know, watch some tapes, buy some DVDs, Google the shit. Dude, wrestling has been around for, as professional wrestling as we know, it's about
since 1905.
Yeah, about a little over 100 years now. Pioneered by the National Wrestling Alliance, became very big in the 1940s. The National Wrestling Alliance is still around today. Unfortunately, they faded from prominence in about the late 80s, early 90s, when Crockett Promotions sold out to Ted Turner. WCW separated itself from the NWA. But study NWA, WCW, AWA, USWA, Smoky Mountain Wrestling, WCCW, New Japan Pro. Guys, there is a lot of stuff out there. The world is bigger than WWE. But moving on, back to what JC was going to say, and then we'll actually maybe at some point
get back to Impact.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, a lot of people like myself grew up in the WWF. Well, I didn't grow up in the WWF, but I grew up in basically a WWF household.
Joey grew up in a huge WWF logo that housed his baby carriage.
Shut up. Basically, what I mean by that is that I grew up watching nothing but WWF. Hulk Hogan was very huge at the time. I was you know, a little kid running around in yellow underwear. I was a skinny kid. Don't be like, oh, you know. I was a skinny kid. You can even ask Brian. He's seen my baby pictures.
I'm just laughing at the thought of you saying you're running around in yellow underwear.
I'm running around with yellow underwear with a red and yellow shirt. One of the original first Hulkamania shirts. Running around screaming, "What you gonna do?" and posing like Hogan. You know, and this was before I knew about Flair. And then I started getting interested.
If I can somehow get this picture from his mother, we will show it on our channel.
And we turn around and, you know, we get to watch, I got to turn in, my Uncle Johnny actually got me into watching WCW in about 94. It was Saturday night, WCW Saturday Night Championship Wrestling, or whatever it was called.
WCW Saturday Night, yes. It was on TBS at 6:05.
Yes, I used to watch that. We used to watch guys like the Taskmaster, Disco Inferno, Alex Wright. The guys that you didn't get to see wrestle on Nitro wrestled on Saturday nights. And
which a
that's
lot of
how
you guys
I actually
who watched early TNA will know Disco Inferno under, what was it, Glenn Gilbert?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, I started watching it, and that's when I actually started realizing guys like Flair and Arn Anderson and Chris Benoit and guys like that. And it's just, it goes to show you how...
Benoit, Malenko, Saturn, Jericho.
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, they didn't come into WCW until I think about late to 95, early 96.
Okay, you're talking a little bit earlier.
Yeah, but from that moment, from my Uncle Johnny sitting me down watching WCW, I started following it little by little. Of course, I would only watch the first hour of Nitro because then Raw came on at 9. Stuff like that. So, you know, it goes to tell you that...
I don't know, dude. Nitro was so good so many times. I find myself watching Nitro more than Raw a lot of the time, or flipping back between the both. I mean...
Well, I mainly watched...
They did incredible things.
I mainly watched Monday Night Raw because I was a Shawn Michaels mark. I was a Bret Hart mark. I wanted to see what was going to happen.
I loved the angles with Hogan and Bischoff and Flair and the Outsiders and Sting, and I don't know. I've always been a fan of you know, the NWA and, you know, WCW and, you know, a lot of their successor promotions. That's why I think I like TNA so much when I first got into it, because it felt, you know, like a successor to WCW in a way. You know, I mean, Jeff Jarrett really carried on the legacy, and, you know, Jeff Jarrett, we have to thank you for that. And say what you want about him, he was an incredible athlete.
Sorry to cut you off, but regardless to say what
We're down to 7 minutes also.
Okay. Regardless of what people say about TNA, now, yes, TNA has shitty storylines. We get that. We don't need to be reminded about that.
I don't know. Hold on. I think the whole curve, yeah, they got thrown off because Booker and Nash signed with WWE. But I think the whole curve they threw at Fourtune.
No, I'm talking about for the last year, from like lockdown of last year up until like Bound for Glory.
But from Bound for Glory on, I think they've done okay.
Yes.
I think they've done a real curve, and I think they're really trying to. And yeah, some of the storylines were a little incoherent. But if you actually go back and watch all, the DVDs and watch some of the impacts, everything was an eventual build, a very slow build, but it was an eventual build. It was, yet again, the light has,
okay.
We're going to take that thing off the motion sensor when we do videos out here. I got to climb up. I'm sure it's got a setting on there.
But like I was trying to say, I just want to get back to this so we can finish the impact. Yes,
Impact, we were talking about that?
Yes, we were. According to everyone on YouTube, a lot of people on YouTube, not everyone, but half of the people on YouTube say TNA sucks. Give us some reasons why TNA. Give us some hard facts why TNA sucks.
It's the WWE marks. Let's say TNA sucks.
Okay. Yes, TNA does have bad storylines from time to time, but they do present a good in-ring product. Like the WWE. Right now, I started watching TNA because I felt let down by the WWE, and I'm not ashamed to say that. But as of late, WWE has been improving somewhat. But the thing about it...
Not to cut you off, but I'll let you finish. The thing about me that's a little bit different is he felt let down by WWE, so he found an alternative. Me, myself, I always appreciated kind of the balance that I longed for the days that there was the competition between WWE and WCW. I think that's what made the Attitude Era of wrestling. And sorry to interrupt you, please continue.
But let's just put it all out there, out in the open. Brian stopped watching wrestling. I think it was in 2002, right after the brand extension. I mean, he was a little bit past that.
I hug it there. I would say at the latest, I hug it there. To sometime in 2003. And I mean, I followed what was going on. I knew, who left the business. I knew who the champion was. I knew, kind of where the direction was going. But sitting down watching weekly totally disappeared. And I mean, that totally disappeared to somewhere almost in 09. I mean, we had a 5 or 6 year gap. And yes, I've gone back. I've acquired a lot of DVDs. I've acquired a lot of tapes, burned DVDs, whatever you want to call them. In the collector's market, we still call them tapes, whatever have you. But, I've acquired a lot of stuff. I've seen, in-depth these stories. If I thought that there was a huge audience for them on YouTube, we would do more DVD reviews. If you guys want to see them, let us know. I mean, we've got pretty much between me and JC, got almost every event going from, I don't know, somewhere 97.
Yeah.
To almost 2010 now. I picked up a couple 2010s just today, and I know JC picked up some. What did you pick up? Like some 2003s?
I picked up a couple of 2003s, Survivor Series 04. I picked up the Undertaker Deadliest Matches, which I am going to do a DVD review on.
I picked up Greatest Stars of the 90s 3-disc set. It looks really impressive.
I think me and Brian might watch that together and do a review about that.
We should. I think that's going to be a fantastic box set. I also picked up great guys. I got out of FYE for about $40. I got 6 DVDs. Greatest Stars of the 90s, SummerSlam 2003. Because Stone Cold said so. It's an old one, but it's a classic. I used to have it on tape. And so my little guys got to my WWE tape collection. Oh my god. No Mercy, guys. No Mercy was in '99. Was worth like $40 used on Amazon on tape. I mean, I've got one VCR. I kept it for the hell of it. But I mean, my god, that's a lot of value. But we're down to 3 minutes. So
we haven't even talked a lot about
Impact. Let's touch on Impact. Biggest pivotal points.
Flair turning on Fourtune.
Flair turned on Fourtune. We saw Sarita and Rosita join with Hernandez. So are they somehow involved with Immortal or just involved with Hernandez?
Oh my god, dude. I don't care what anyone says. Rosita and Sarita are the 2 hottest knockouts. One of the two of the hottest knockouts. Not saying there is a lot of TNA knockouts.
But Sarita... Oh, and I gotta touch on this before we run out of time. This is some bullshit. This is bullshit fucking booking. RVD beat the shit out of Jeff Hardy. Yes. He legitimately fucking impressed the fuck out of me. Dude, he was like RVD 10 years ago. Did you see how many high flying spots, how many awesome moves? And then, dude, one twist of fate after some bullshit arguing in the corner, and that's going to put down RVD after a 5-star frog splash that sent him from turnbuckle to fucking turnbuckle. That was like coast to coast, baby. That was fucking awesome. And JC, why don't you close out with some thoughts? Because unfortunately, guys, we're out of time. For some reason, we're having a problem with our YouTube account, and we're restricted to 15 minutes again.